The Assassin's Creed series is full of hidden details and secrets across all of the games. Some are well known, like Mario Auditore's introduction as a nod to Super Mario, while others are more obscure, like those mentioned in this video. I'm thinking of making this into a series because there are countless more fascinating details in the Assassin's Creed series to explore, so you can essentially think of this video as a part 1. If you have any secrets or details you'd like to share, just leave it down in the comments below, or you can email me at thehidden1ac@gmail.com and I might feature them in a future video. Anyway, if you do enjoy this video, do consider hitting that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Here's an interesting detail from the beginning of Assassin's Creed 3 that you might not know. So early in the game, while you play as Haytham Kenway, he's travelling to the Americas. Now during this mission, the ship he's travelling on, which is called the Providence, is being tailed by another ship. Now here's the interesting part, and when I found out about this, I was kind of shocked about this revelation, and that is that the ship tailing the Providence is in fact the Aquilla. You know, the iconic ship that Connor navigates throughout the entire game. It's later revealed that the assassins had tried to take out Haytham at sea using the Aquilla. However, the Aquilla being the ship tailing the Providence is not mentioned at all during the game. You see, at one point during the prologue mission, Haytham has the idea to take the Providence ship and travel it into a storm in order to outrun the tailing ship. This leads to that tailing ship being struck by lightning, which causes severe damage to its main masts. Now what's important to note is that the Aquila we see with Connor at the start of the game, which is kind of destroyed, is not because of that storm. In fact, this is a different event entirely. If you have not played Assassin's Creed Rogue, I recommend collecting the war letters as it details the Aquila's early years. This one is more of a creepy and unsolved Easter egg, and I'm glad I did not experience this when I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla for the first time. So this one relates to the whole Asgard arc and Norse side of the game, and it can be found in the region of Jotunheim, or at least I thought it was, because when I went to this location in my game, I simply could not replicate this creepy Easter egg. You know, thinking of it now, maybe that's a good thing. Anyway, once you're here and you're exploring near one of Ymir's bloodstones, what can sometimes happen is a strange kind of creature or entity just staring at you. No matter where you walk, its eyes are glued to you. Now what's interesting is that this entity is not hostile, which thank God, because it looks like something straight out of a nightmare. Now there's 3 theories or suggestions as to what this entity could be. The first one seems like the most obvious, and that it's simply a Jotun, which is a giant creature in Norse mythology that has an influence over the weather and landscapes. But of course in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it does not do anything. The second theory is that it's an Easter egg to the Cartoon Network show called Over the Garden Wall, where there's a creature called the Beast, and it does kind of look identical to that. The third theory is that it's a mythological cannibalistic monster named a Wendigo, which is in North American Algonquin speaking tribes. It's said that this monster is associated with winter and described as either a fearsome beast that stalks and eats humans, or as a spirit that possesses humans, causing them to turn into cannibals. But whatever the case may be, it certainly is a creepy and kind of scary Easter egg, especially for a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it's one I did not really expect to see in this type of game. Here's a pretty fascinating secret that comes in the form of Assassin's Creed 3. So do you remember right at the beginning of the game when Haytham climbs across the theatre to assassinate a man named Miko in order to steal his medallion? Now during this moment, there's a young boy who witnesses the assassination. He's then quickly shushed by Haytham. You see, at first this little boy seems unimportant, a character that we'd forget a few minutes later, but as the game progresses, you can actually encounter him again as Connor years later. So by sequence 6, when you're playing as Connor, liberation missions are now available in Boston, and in North Boston, you meet an Irish man named Duncan Little, who becomes a potential recruit for the assassins. After you complete all of his missions, you can find him in a pub, and when you sit down with Duncan, he shares a story from his childhood. He explains that he was in fact the little boy at the opera house with his uncle, and he had just returned from the bathroom when he found his uncle dead in his seat. He mentions being terrified after being confronted by Haytham, but acknowledged his gesture for silence, which he had secretly kept ever since. That was until now. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there's a lot of things you can do across England, including various types of wealth, artifacts, and mysteries. With so many things on the map, it's easy to overlook some details. For example, you might have missed this secret, and it's a humorous nod to Winnie the Pooh. So to find this Winnie the Pooh reference in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, head to the region of Sent, near the southwest border with Sussex. look for a world event mystery marked by a large tree with a door located in a clearing. Now this is of course the first nod to Winnie the Pooh, as it's a reference to Piglet's house. Here you'll see a young boy trying to gather honey from beehives while getting stung by bees. After speaking to the boy, he'll tell you that he needs honey for his friend. Now you can approach the farthest beehive to collect some honey and then place it on a rock in front of the large tree. After a while of waiting with the boy until his friend, who he calls Winifred, arrives, soon a large bear will come to the honey and the boy will be thrilled. This bear is in fact Winifred, and it's a playful nod to Winnie the Pooh, and the boy himself seems to be a representation of Christopher Robin. You see, what's pretty cool is that this reference does not just end there. It's located near the real-life Ashdown Forest, which inspired the 100-acre woods in Winnie the Pooh stories. And if you follow the boy and the bear after the quest, you'll also encounter other animals resembling Pooh's friends, like a pig, a rabbit and a donkey, making this a pretty cool tribute to A.A. Milne's beloved characters. Interestingly, most video game hidden details and secrets are often discovered soon after a game's release, but that was not the case with Assassin's Creed Unity. You see, it took 2 whole years for players to find this specific hidden secret related to pink frosted cakes scattered throughout Paris. So in the game there are 5 of these cakes, and Ubisoft hinted that finding all of them would unlock something special. The secret involves a kind of unique boss fight of some sort. So to trigger it, you first need to locate 4 smaller cakes at specific locations throughout Paris. After collecting these, go to the courtyard of the Palais de Luxembourg, and there you'll find a large cake with a man standing on top of it. When you interact with the cake, the man just jumps down, initiating the boss battle. You see, this man is none other than Marquis de Bouillon, a character originally shown as an assassination target in a 2014 E3 demo, but was ultimately removed from the final game. Taking him down is not easy as he has a lot of health, making for a pretty lengthy fight. Upon defeating him, you can loot his body for 50,000 francs, and additionally fireworks will go off and you'll earn an achievement. You see, this kind of discovery raises a pretty interesting question about how many more secrets and Easter eggs kind of remain undiscovered in other Assassin's Creed games, especially with the more recent games with how large the open world is. I can see this being a similar case to Assassin's Creed Red. You see, I got a feeling that in Assassin's Creed Red, we'll be discovering things months or maybe even years later. The Dark Souls franchise is one of my favorites of all time. Now, in these Dark Souls games, there's something called Bonfires, which act as a typical resting station where the player can level up, fast travel, and also heal their health. The design of these bonfires is often simple but iconic. It consists of a pile of ash with a sword sticking out. In Assassin's Creed, there's 2 instances of this being referenced. The best one is in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So this secret can be found in Leicestershire. Here, within an ancient structure, there's a bonfire with a blade thrust into it, of course closely mirroring the iconic bonfires from Dark Souls. Beside it lies a knight's helmet, similar to those found also in the Dark Souls games. Now what's quite interesting is that you can actually kneel and meditate at this bonfire to restore energy, which is a nice touch. Another bonfire reference you can find in Assassin's Creed is in Assassin's Creed Origins. So in the Paritonian region within the ruins of Keno or Kino, you're able to discover a sword stuck in a mound of ashen bones. Accompanying this is a message titled Sword in the Ashes, which explains that the bones are of someone who will not find peace in the afterlife because their heart is missing. Some pretty dark stuff. You see what I did there? Dark stuff? Dark Souls? No, okay. This scene is definitely a clear nod to the bonfires, also from Dark Souls. If you played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, then you'd know all about this character. This man is Hytham, and he's a pretty standard character throughout the entire game, serving as an assassin who set up a bureau in Ravensthorpe alongside Basim to track the Order's presence throughout England. Now let's fast forward to the game after being Assassin's Creed Mirage. So Hytham, if you don't know, was trained by Basim at a young age, and he has a backstory that was not fully explored in any game regarding how they met or their relationship. However, this is very secretly touched upon in Mirage, though it's briefly mentioned, and it's very easy to overlook. So in a mission set in Baghdad, Basim encounters an easily frightened young boy eager to demonstrate his courage to the Hidden Ones by attempting a leap of faith from a ledge. Recognizing the boy's youth and inexperience, Basim discourages him from taking the jump and instead tells him to seek him out when he's older. The boy then agrees and runs off, and just as he leaves, his friends quickly call him Hytham, revealing his identity in a very brief moment of dialogue that can easily be missed out, as a lot of us would often rush to the next mission. The soundtracks in Assassin's Creed are always 10 out of 10. I cannot really think of an Assassin's Creed game with a bad soundtrack. And yes, I will eventually make a video ranking every soundtrack. I see your comments. Anyway, in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, whilst you're sailing the seas with the Jackdaw and your crew, you're able to play the sea shanty named Leave Her Johnny, sung by your crew.
Oh, hey I thought I heard the old man say, leave her, Johnny, leave her.
Now what's pretty cool is that in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, a game released 2 years after Black Flag, you can actually stumble upon a few NPCs singing the Leave Her Johnny song. Now I'm not sure as to how many locations there are where you can hear this, but these are 3 that I know of, and in each of these locations there will be an NPC just singing his heart out. It's pretty relaxing stuff.
Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her, for the voice is long and the wind don't blow, it's time for us to leave her.
In the Assassin's Creed series, the old phrase "here be dragons" is not just a metaphor. For instance, within the Assassin tomb beneath the Santa Maria Church in Venice, a giant squid is somewhere lurking around. So if the player has Ezio look into the water for over a minute, a cutscene will suddenly play, showing the giant squid swimming below. Now what's even more interesting is that if Ezio looks a second time, a tentacle suddenly shoots out of the water, narrowly missing him. Some people have said that this is a reference to the Kraken, but I'm not sure about that, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the Kraken is like seriously massive, and this giant squid seems way smaller in comparison. But this is not the only instance of a giant squid appearing in Assassin's Creed, as in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which seems more fitting of a giant squid appearing as it's set within a large ocean. Anyway, after completing Sequence 6 Memory 1, which unlocks shipwrecks for exploration, you're able to head to this shipwreck site at map coordinates 632-661. Here, as you navigate through the sunken ship, you can spot tentacles. If you pause by the window, a brief cutscene plays, showing a giant squid attacking and killing a large whale. It's like witnessing an oceanic titan battle. You know, it's kind of insane to think that something like this in the older games was considered, mythological, but now we have giant minotaurs and fire-breathing monsters. In Assassin's Creed Unity, the game developers incorporated a very subtle yet significant reference to the biblical story of Adam and Eve, which might be overlooked by many players. So this metaphor is cleverly presented at the very start of the game during a scene featuring young Arno and Elise. Here, Elise playing the role that's similar to Eve, tempts Arno, representing Adam, into a sequence of actions very similar to the biblical reference. The scene unfolds with Elise urging Arno to follow after her, mirroring the dynamic between Adam and Eve, where Eve leads and Adam follows. This chase leads them towards a more direct homage to the original sin story. Elise encourages Arno to steal an apple from a garden. You see, the act of taking the apple symbolizes the biblical apple from the tree of knowledge, which led to Adam and Eve's fall from grace in the scriptures. This symbolism extends deeper, as the theft of an apple leads to immediate consequences, paralleling how tragedy struck humanity after the event. In Assassin's Creed Unity, this moment is the precursor to a series of tragic events that unfold throughout the game, like Arno's father dying shortly after, and it sets the tone for the story and highlights themes of innocence lost and the harsh repercussions of one's actions. It's a pretty cool reference and a little detail that I haven't really seen anybody talk about. So what do you think about this detail? Am I reaching, or is this a valid comparison to make? So there you have it. Those are 10 insane details in Assassin's Creed. As I mentioned during the intro, I want to turn this into kind of a series. So if you have any other insane details, secrets or Easter eggs in Assassin's Creed games that are not well known, then either comment them below or email them to me at thehidden1ac@gmail.com. Let me know which out of the 10 I talked about in this video interested you the most. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one.